Hey everybody, Jane here, and we are doing our next video for Buzzwordathon. The the prompts this month are animals on the cover and or animal words on the cover. So lots of choices. I am super stoked about this month. However, I'll be honest, we're already a little bit into the month and it has not been a great reading month. I'm going to talk about the two books that I've read so far, and I hope it picks up. I'm going on vacation, and so I'm hoping vacation time I can just get really crazy about it and have a great time and catch up on all the books that I feel like I'm missing out on because I am just slumpy right now. If you're not familiar with Buzzwordathon, I will link Kayla's video, BooksandLaLa's video, where she explains how Buzzwordathon works in the comments or in the description box. There's also a playlist I have if you want to go back and see how my last reading months have been. This month, prompts, animals, pictures on the title, on the cover, or words in the title. And I've read two books that were both short and 3 stars. So that's where we're at now. I'm going to give you a brief introduction. We have Morgana and Oz. We have a kitty on the cover. This is volume 2. It is a manga. It was fine. This is about a girl who is a witch and she accidentally turns a vampire into a cat. And the vampires are mad at the witches and she's trying to solve the problems between the vampires and the witches. Beautiful art. I really enjoyed the first book. The second one I didn't like as well, but I wonder if I let too much time pass between book 1 and 2 because I wasn't necessarily feeling like a deep connection with the characters. And while I was interested, it wasn't as fun and cutesy and goofy, I thought, as book 1, which is what I was here for. The second book I've read so far is Unlikely Friendships. This is also a 3-star. This is really short little stories, like 3 pages, about animals who are buddies. Just quick little nonfiction, read it in a day kind of thing. Here's the thing. This was like a 4-star in the beginning. It is what I wanted it to be, except that, number one, the stories by the end feel kind of repetitive. It's like, here's 2 creatures, they're friends. And there's really not enough meat to the story. There are fairly famous stories you've probably heard, like Coco and her kitten. There are also stories in here that I'm not sure really count as friendships. There was quite a lot of stories of like these animals or an animal and a human spent 20 minutes together and it was a cool encounter, but not like what I'm necessarily looking for in a book like this. I want this book to make me go, "Aw, aw." And there were a lot of those in the beginning as we got further on, and it was like, okay, there's like 40 some stories. About half of them are really good, and half of them are aw. A lot of them, by the end especially, I was like, okay, this critter and this critter spent 5 minutes together, or did this, you know, there's a horse that saves a deer, I think it is. Um, there's like a predator and the horse sees a baby deer and the horse like goes and is trying to protect the little deer. And like, is that a friendship? I mean, those critters haven't known each other and it's a mom deer or a mom horse. I mean, I'm not sure that qualifies. Or there was another guy who like was hanging out and I don't remember what kind of critter it was, but he was a scuba diver and he was taking pictures and this sea creature came up and was like, "What you doing, buddy?" And like he hung out with her for like the duration of this picture taking session he was with. And like that story's in here too. And just like things like that weren't really what I was looking for. I wanted more Coco's Kitten. I wanted that type of story. And about half of this is that. And also, like, all of them are very underdeveloped. It's very like rapid fire. These two met. Here's like their names, a tiny little background information, their friendship. Bye. It's 2 to 3 pages. If you just want a little happy, these animals are friends book, and maybe this is intended for a younger audience. There's a lot of words on the page. I'm not sure it really feels that's kind of a picture-y page though. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of words on the page. I'm not sure if this is meant for like younger readers. but it wasn't quite what I wanted. It just wasn't quite there. It wasn't bad. It does give you little stories of animal friendship, 40 some of them, but it just wasn't hitting for me. So yeah, that's where we are so far in the month. I'm hoping to read more books about animals that I like. But last month was such a bad reading month. I think I'm in a bit of a slump. And it's actually like the 10th of April when I'm updating you. So I'm already like far into the month, far into this challenge, and I just have not had inclination to film. So that's where we've been. Yeah, I will come back to you when I read another book and have anything to say about it. Be back soon.
Reading update time. I did start reading a new book, and it is called All My Patients Are Under the Bed, Memoirs of a Cat Doctor. So when I was growing up, I absolutely loved James Herriot's book, and this is kind of that vibe. This is a veterinarian, but he specializes in cats and he makes house calls. So instead of James Herriot, who did like all the animals, this guy just does cats and he makes house calls. He's also a little bit more grumpy and curmudgeon-y, and you get a little bit more of that style in this book. He's one of those people who I would say is a very capable vet, but maybe not as personable as one might hope. He's a middle-aged veterinarian, middle-aged to older. I mean, like, I think he's in his, like, 60s. And we also learn at the beginning of the book that this gentleman has passed away, and the people who, like, helped him finish the book are his friends. So, yes, all of those things. I enjoy these type of books, and so I am having a good time with it as a memories from a cat doctor. It's so far pretty much exactly what I want it to be. It is a little bit old, but it's still memories of a cat doctor. So I'm having a good time. I will update you when I get further. I'm currently not too far in, maybe 50 pages in. So slow progress. This is not one that I necessarily want to binge read because it's like each chapter is like a little story, but this is nice because I can pick it up, read a chapter, and then go on with my day. So, yep. Hi friends, I have a reading update for you. So I am still working on All My Patients Are Under the Bed, Memoirs of a Cat Doctor. I read this for about an hour straight yesterday, and I'm about at the halfway mark, I would say. One thing I will say that I noticed reading it kind of in a cluster instead of reading it very piecemeal like I was doing is the stories are very short and they only vaguely tie together, and it's very like train of thought, like the doctor going basically like, here's a story, and then like the next story might have something slightly related, or like, oh, and that makes me think of this story, but they're very, very short and they're not real well tied together. So after reading it for an hour straight, it felt very chaotic. I'm still enjoying it. It also has some like, I wouldn't call them pet care tips exactly, but he has like a whole section of these toys are very dangerous for cats. Things like that. So it's interesting. I don't like it as well as James Herriot. It's not quite as endearing, but I'm still enjoying it for what it is. I wouldn't steer anybody away from reading it, but I don't think it's going to be something that I love or even keep after I'm done reading it. I think this will be one of the books that this has been fun, and rehome it. I did read one other book. It was a graphic novel because right now I'm a little slumpy and graphic novels are just easy. And that was Swan Lake Quest for the Kingdoms. This is a middle grade. And I'll be honest, I wasn't 100% sure if it was middle grade. I thought it was kind of YA actually going in, but it is middle grade. I'm going to give this a 3-star. It is a retelling of Swan Lake. We have Odette, who is a girl who has been cursed. She is a swan during the day, and then at night she becomes a person. And she believes or is told that a neighboring kingdom magician sorcerer cursed her. Well, she meets the daughter of that sorcerer, and the daughter's like, my dad didn't do that to you. And so they set out on a quest basically to prove that her dad is innocent and to get Odette's curse removed. And then they meet this guy along the way who is from another kingdom, and all of the characters are a little bit quirky. She doesn't like cute things. She's kind of like almost gothy emo, wants to kiss all the spiders, but is terrified of bunny rabbits type person. He can talk in multiple languages, including to bears, which is really cool. And they just go on this zany quest as they're trying to get Odette to prove that this girl's dad didn't curse Odette, and that Odette, to help Odette not be a swan anymore. Because it's middle grade, you just can't take it too seriously. I think it was very fun, but at times a little too out there for my rather adult taste. Like sometimes I just had to go like, okay, yes, this is a middle grade, so we're just going for crazy and weird, and it doesn't have to make sense, or it doesn't have to have a lot of substance. The vibes are there. It's very much a story about friendship of these three becoming friends as they go on this quest together, and what they need to do for the land and figuring out who they are, because they all have ties to different kingdoms and kingdoms that are at war with each other. So it was cute. It was cutesy. I had a good time with it. If you enjoy middle grade or have a child, I think this is like one of the middle grades that I wouldn't necessarily, some middle grades as an adult I still really vibe with, and this is not necessarily one of them. It was a little too quirky and weird and zany for me. But I think if you had a middle grade child, they could really, really enjoy this. And this is like a great introduction to, the classic story of Swan Lake, at least like the references to it. And there's a whole discussion in the back, in the biography about like why the author wrote this and what Swan Lake means to them and stuff like that. So I do think this could be cute for a middle grader. If you don't mind a little bit of zaniness and you like Swan Lake adjacent stories. I wouldn't really call it a retelling. I would call it like an adjacent story. But if you like that kind of thing, you could really enjoy this. It was fine. Nothing really crazy to write home about, but I'm not sad I read it. All right, guys, when I find my next read, I will let you know, and or when I finish the Cat Doctor book.
All right, guys, it is time to give you an update. So I did finish All My Patients Are Under the Bed, Memoirs of a Cat Doctor, and I am going to give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it not nearly as much as I enjoyed like the James Herriot books, but it was still a fun time. I enjoyed the little stories the veterinarian told, and I would recommend this to people who enjoy memoirs and cats and James Herriot. This isn't a perfect book. I think I've already mentioned most of the issues I had with it, but I still had a very, very fine time with it. And, it's been the kind of month where anything that was good was good. On that note, a little update on my life. We've had a really rough April, so this vlog is going to be super short. We are actually almost at the end of April now. Today is the last day of April, and I might get one more book done besides the other book that I finished that I'm going to talk to you about. But guys, it's been rough. We lost our hamster. She passed away last week, so that has been very rough for us. And then also my daughter decided that she is going to go spend the next school year with her dad. So that has been a big emotional change for us as well. So yeah, I am a bit of a hot mess, and that has affected my reading quite a bit this month. All right, the other book I read, and it looks huge, but it's only one story in this. I read Petectives Christmas Party. So this is actually an omnibus with multiple books inside it. So it has the Petectives, which I've already read, Petectives Christmas Party, and Petectives Under Fire, as well as some bonus material. So I went ahead and read Petectives Christmas. As you can see on the front cover are two kitties, so it meets the requirements. Petectives Christmas is obviously a Christmas themed story. This is, I believe, a middle grade mystery book. Don't quote me on that, but it is written young, and I mean, our detectives are cats, so the mysteries are not very complicated. Our main characters are Gatsby and Yoshi. They are our detective cats, and Gatsby is the one who wanders the neighborhood and gathers clues for Yoshi, who is a cat that doesn't leave the house. But yet, Yoshi is still able to figure out from what Gatsby tells him the answers to all of the mysteries. In this particular mystery, there is a dog who they believe was poisoned with some meat. The dog did not pass away. He survived, but he was still, they believe, poisoned. And so these cats are looking into the poisoning of this dog. There is also a little pet Christmas party and some really cute moments. I ended up giving this a 3-star. It is very simple, even I think for a middle grade. Certainly as an adult reader, I liked it but didn't love it. It is cute and cutesy, but it's not anything super noteworthy. I do plan to read the rest of the books in this omnibus, and then I don't know that I will go on and read any of the other books in the series that are not in the omnibus. Again, it's a cute, fun time. If you are wanting something to read for maybe middle grade March, this would be worth reading. If you have children that like little mysteries with pets, it might be worth reading. The words on the page, there's no pictures, but the words on the page, not a lot of them. So this is not a very long book, even though it looks chunky. Another small issue I had, and I guess it makes sense in a Christmas themed book, is there was a little bit more religion in this particular book than I would have preferred, especially for cats. So I appreciated a lot of the holiday stuff about the book, but as a non-religious person, I did not love the religious bits of the Christmas mystery story. I haven't really noticed a lot of Christian messaging throughout the rest of the book, so it was probably just because it was Christmas themed. I certainly do occasionally read books with Christian messaging, but I felt like it was unnecessary in this particular book. And that was one thing that kind of, besides the mystery being a little bit, simple, and the story being a little bit simple, and again, it's middle grade, it's supposed to be, I think I would have appreciated more Christmas hijinks and less Christian messaging. So yes, just know that if you pick up the book, and if you are a non-religious person like myself, just be aware that there's a little bit of that in there. It's not overwhelming, it's not crazy, but just enough that I was like, I didn't feel like that was really necessary for the story we were telling. But obviously the author can put in whatever they want. So yeah, that is the books that I've read in April. I want to get one more book read tonight. We'll see what happens. And I will report to you one way or another. The one I'm still looking to read is a manga, so it should be quick, short, and easy, and that will be my last read of the month if I do, in fact, get to it tonight. So I will update you probably tomorrow, which will actually be the first, but I'm going to try to finish the book tonight. If I can update you tonight, I will, but probably I won't have time to do it tonight. But yeah, I will let you know how the reading goes, and I will talk to you soon. All right, guys, so I know it's kind of a weird background. I had to do it, long story. I have a new phone, and yeah. Anyway, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the last book I'm reading for this blog, and it is a DNF, and that is a manga called The White Cat's Revenge as Plotted from the Dragon King's Lap. I couldn't finish it, guys. The pacing of this book is all over the place, and I was pretty sure if I finished it that I was going to give it a 2-star, and I don't want to do that. I would much rather DNF a book that I know is not working for me. This book, it is sort of about a girl who goes through a portal world, and she is beloved of fairies, and she is, I don't even know. It's a really weird book. And I mean, manga can be for me anyway, where it's not really working great. And I feel like this book is just that. It's just not working for me. It could really work for other people, especially if you don't mind like breakneck speeds when it comes to pace. But this book was just not for me. So that is going to be the end of my April blog. I really didn't read nearly as much as I wanted to, which was a huge disappointment. But hopefully May is a better reading month. All right, guys, this has been Jane. Like, subscribe. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page.